Hey guys, I wanted to go through my first pickup video for my channel, which I've tentatively called Now Recording. That will probably not remain the name. I just could not think of anything else to call it, and I wanted to get it up. So I'll come up with something else because I hate it. But in the meantime, for anyone who watched the mission statement video, thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it. And I wanted to do my first pickup video. I picked up a couple of new records at Newbury Comics a week ago. So I wanted to kind of go over those. I went to the Newbury Comics store on Newbury Street in Boston, which is the flagship store. It was the first one that was open, I think. Newbury Comics is a chain. They're mostly in Massachusetts, but I think they have locations all over New England. At least I know they have locations in Maine and New Hampshire and in Rhode Island as well. So it's a great, I mean, they used to just primarily sell music, and they still sell music, but now they sell t-shirts, and I think they make their money on knickknacks and toys and stuff like that. And they used to sell comic books, obviously, as well. That's why they're called that. But they certainly still sell music. It's a great place to get new vinyl. The Newbury Street location in particular is really good for vinyl. A whole section of the store is just vinyl. Some of the other locations are a little hit and miss, particularly ones that are in malls. You see ones that are in malls now, and sometimes the vinyl location's just like a little bin. It's not that much. Some of the ones in the malls really cater primarily to like clothing and toys and stuff like that. But anyway, the Newbury Comics on Newbury Street is great. I went there a week ago. I picked up a couple of things. So the first album I picked up is, and by the way, this is like my really maiden voyage into recording and videography, I guess we'll call it. So, you know, these are probably going to be like a little, I'm learning as I go, we'll put it that way. So hopefully over time, you'll see how much better I get with the videos. That will be really fun for you guys. You know, by video 100, they'll start to look like Star Wars, I'm sure. But for now, I'm sure I'll come up with better ways. I bought a little cheap tripod for my phone, which is what I'm recording this on. And I'm just basically holding the records in front of me and in front of the tripod. Not the best method. In fact, maybe we'll get more room if we turn it. See, we're practicing right now. Right now. I don't know. Whatever. We'll go through. There's only two that I picked up, so we'll go through these for now, and I'll tinker with it. I'll come up with something else. But in the meantime, the first record I bought is Courtney Barnett. Sometimes I sit and think, and sometimes I just sit. This came out, I think, last year, 2015. Yes, 2015. If it will focus. There you go. On Milk Records. Courtney Barnett is an Australian. I hate labels because I don't know, I'm bad at them, and I feel like they're just kind of stupid. It's just rock. I mean, a lot of the stuff is pretty groovy, like rock and roll kind of stuff. And then she does some softer, more tender, like ballady stuff too. I'm probably, whoever likes Courtney Barnett out there that's listening to this is going to call me such a moron for that explanation, but whatever. But I picked this up because I'm always trying to get into new stuff. This is her first album. She had, I think, at least one EP before this, maybe two. But I picked this one up. I'm going to move back over here now. Because I heard a song from this on WERS, which is a local radio station. It's actually Emerson College Radio. Which is 88.9 here in the Boston area, but it's like wers.org if wherever you are, you want to check it out. And in terms of an over-the-air radio station that you can get on your normal radio dial, it's great for music. You hear a lot of stuff, a lot of new stuff, a lot of stuff that you haven't heard before that you would not hear anywhere else in terms of radio or TV, like MTV and stuff, certainly. So it's really good for that kind of stuff. And so I heard the song Dead Fox on WERS, and I really liked it. And so I decided to kind of investigate and pick up the album. And I listened to the whole thing a few times now. It's great. There's a lot of really good songs on here. If you want to know a little bit more or get a kind of a a sampling. Pedestrian at Best, which is song 2 there. Depreston, song 5 on side A. And then Dead Fox, Nobody Really Cares If You Don't Go to the Party. Those are all really good songs. I mean, there's a lot of really good songs on here. WERS, kind of going back to that, they played this, which I bought. The new Sufjan Stevens, I heard a song from that, and I went out and bought it. Stephen Malkmus, I heard a song from that album that came out a couple of years ago. I bought that based on that. So really, I bought a bunch of stuff based on what WERS has played. Unfortunately, it seems like more recently they're still playing stuff like this, but then I hear like Taylor Swift on there as well, which is kind of like, every other station is doing that. Like your whole niche is not doing that. So I'm hopeful that that's momentary or just it's not going to last that long. I don't know. But anyway, I did hear this, and just to kind of open it up, I mean, they actually, Newbury Comics, I'll pull it out. So we got just like a lyric sheet here on the sleeve itself, and then a picture of the group. Courtney Barnett, second from left. Newbury Comics. This is just a plain black vinyl. They had a colored vinyl edition that was $15 more expensive than this. I really do like colored vinyl, and we'll look more at the colored vinyl as time goes on. And as we go through my collection, but it's not enough for me to go $15 above. This is sitting there $15 cheaper with the same music. I can't justify it. I just can't. So yeah. So I didn't get the colored vinyl. I did want to show you something. So for anyone who's new to collecting or just new to records and new to vinyl, records have. They come with these digital download cards. If you can see that, download your digital copy. I'm covering in case any of you thieves out there want to steal my digital download copy of Courtney Barnett's Sometimes I Sit and Think, and Sometimes I Just Sit. Well, stick this in your pipe and smoke it. But the albums will come with these now. So I can go on to soundtracks.com and enter the code that my thumb is covering, and I will download digital copies of all the songs on this album, and I can put them on my phone. I can have them on my iPod and stuff like that. So that's how you get these. Obviously, if you buy a CD, you can just rip it. But if you get a vinyl, for the most part, new albums come with these. Not all of them, but most of them. We're going to look at another album I bought new, but was originally released in 1986 or 1985. And in just a second, and those kinds of albums, like new versions or new copies of older albums, often do not come with these. So that's just something to know as well. But something that's brand new that just has come out will generally have this digital download card. Sometimes like artists like Bruce Springsteen and Bob Dylan, and just legendary artists like that, or people who've been around a long time. The album will actually come with a physical CD. And to be completely honest, I think that's because those albums skew older, and older people might not necessarily know what to do with this, or they might not have the equipment like a computer to do this. That's just my thought as to why that is. But Bruce Springsteen's Wrecking Ball album that came out in 2012, I have that on vinyl, and that came with a CD. Bob Dylan's album last year that was the... put this away. The Frank Sinatra Standards, Shadows in the Night, that came with a CD. So I think that's the reason why they do that. But anyway, Courtney Barnett, I highly recommend it. Check it out. It's a really good album. So that was one. And then my second one is this. Husker Du, New Day Rising. This came out, I probably had the year wrong. That's their P.O. Box information. Where the hell is it? 1985. SST, the mighty SST Records. New Day Rising, Husker Du. And Husker Du is I guess they're considered a hardcore punk band. They were around from 79 to 87, and the principal songwriter, half of the principal songwriting duo, Bob Mould, is still around, releasing solo albums that have gotten a lot more press and attention recently. His most recent one is called Patch the Sky, which I have not heard, but I heard it's good. Grant Hart is the other main songwriter who has been in and out of bands since 1987 when Husker Du broke up. So I'd long heard of these guys. I used to be really into metal when I was 12, 13, 14, something like that. And Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, all the Slayer, all that kind of stuff. And Husker Du as a hardcore band kind of skirted the edges of that. You know, when I'd read about metal, I had a book, The All Music Guide to Rock, which was one of those encyclopedic tomes that was like reviews of every album of all time. And Husker Du was in there, and I read those passages and stuff like that. And they were on the VH1 countdown of the top 100 hard rock acts, the thing that was hosted by Carmen Electra from like 2001. So I saw all that stuff, but I never really listened to them. And a couple of things kind of converged. Sorry for the shaky camera work. A couple of things kind of converged to get me to this point where I am buying Husker Du records. The first thing is that I've gotten just much more into punk recently. And so when we look at my collection, we'll look at that. I've really gotten into like the Ramones, the Clash, and then like the Minutemen and some of the other SST bands. And I'm really just scratching the surface with it. And it's really exciting for me to get into this stuff and to hear it for the first time, because it's obviously all new to me. But also, I kind of dismissed punk and hardcore when I was younger. I don't know why. Honestly, it was probably because I was immature and I saw the people at school that liked that stuff, and it just didn't seem to compute with me, just like the way that they looked and stuff. So I just automatically dismissed the music, and that's on me. Let that be a lesson. Don't judge a book by its cover. I know you learned that in kindergarten, but let that be a lesson to you. But I got into the Clash first, and the Clash, I guess they're considered a punk band. They're basically a pop group. I mean, once I heard the Clash and heard the Ramones and heard that, it's fast and they're not trained singers, but the music is kind of pop music. I mean, it's a lot to do with that. It's harmonious. It's melodic. There are hooks. I for some reason I thought that all punk was just this impenetrable wall of yelling and noise and sound with no hooks. And that ended up not being the case, and I finally learned that. And so once I learned that, I just kind of went all in, and I really liked what I was hearing. So Husker Du, that's half the reason. The other half is Mark Kozelek, who is the Red House Painters. He was the principal songwriter behind Red House Painters. Sun Kil Moon is basically his group. He covered a song from this, Celebrated Summer, which is right there on the first side. He covered that song on his Finally LP, and that is just such an amazing song, the way he does it and on this, that I was like, wow, that song is great. And who sang that? Oh, Husker Du. And then that just kind of led me down the rabbit hole of getting into Husker Du. So it's just kind of crazy that stuff like that, like that's part of why I'm doing this, is just I find it so interesting the way, how long it can take to get into things and how you get into things musically, and it's just the journey never stops, like you're always discovering new things and finding new things, and now I'm here, and like, this will stay with me. I'll always like Husker Du and this album, but then from here I'll branch out into something else. So that's what is really interesting to me about music, is that you're always adding to your musical acumen, which is what I'm trying to do. Anyway, the album itself is great. I really, really like it. I Apologize is fantastic. Celebrated Summer. I mean, the whole thing is really good. Again, melodic. It's fast. The singers are, I think, Hart and Bob Mould sing. The singers are, it's a lot of yelling and stuff like that, but it's not, I wouldn't call it inaccessible. I'd actually call this, if you're looking to get an accessible punk hardcore album, I can't imagine starting anywhere but here. I mean, this is a pretty good one to start off with. Produced by Spot, the SST's in-house producer, which apparently caused a lot of consternation to the group because they did not want him producing this album. Just standard vinyl. standard black vinyl. There is like a pink marble re-release of this that came out a couple of years ago. They didn't have that, to the best of my knowledge. They just had the standard one, but I don't care. That's fine. Great album. I'm really excited about it. And that's it. That's the first pickup video. Husker Du and Courtney Barnett. And I'm sure there's going to be many more. But this is the first one. So, well, I'll post this, and then I'll start on the alphabetical going through my records videos, starting with A. That would make sense, right? And then I will also try to find a better camera setup. Maybe I just need a different. See, I'm trying to like hold it because I just feel weird about like having this on my face. I don't know why. You guys know me, but anyway, I'll come up with something that makes it better. But thanks a lot. Appreciate it.